Jace Lejeune from Gridiron Football. We're here at our third annual Gridiron Football Media Day. Hosted this time, we were at Pineville earlier this week. Now we're at St. Thomas More here today. I'm here with new Lafayette head football coach Stephen Hearen. Coach Hearen, great to get a chance to again talk with you about the upcoming season. And first, congratulations on getting the job. And talk about, I know Lions fans are really excited about what kind of style of football you're going to instill in the program.
Style-wise, I've been at Ascension Episcopal the last 9 years, so offensively, same system we've been running at Ascension. A lot of 11 personnel, spread offense. As far as if you got a chance to see any Blue Gator football over the last 9 years, some spread offense. Hopefully, we can be pretty balanced. That's always the goal. I think it's not too dissimilar to the system that they've had at Lafayette High the last several years. So it hadn't been a huge learning curve for the guys. Terminology stuff is always kind of a new thing. But as far as style of football, a lot of inside zone, stretch and some things run game wise that they've had. So it's been a good summer so far. Guys have picked things up. So I'm pretty excited about where we are so far.
For sure. Speaking of being excited, what do you think about this 2025 version of what the Lions are going to look like?
It's exciting to get started. I'm a Lafayette High graduate. I graduated from Lafayette High in 2003. Played football at Lafayette High. Spent a lot of time in the bleachers at Lafayette High, watching Lafayette High football even before I played. So to be back is something, an opportunity that I'm excited about and really not taking lightly. As far as what we're going to have this year, we're going to have a lot of new faces and new places. We've got some experience coming back offensive side of the ball. I think we've got like 6 guys that played a lot of football last year for us. Defensively, I think we got like 3 guys that played a lot of football last year. So they had a pretty good senior class last year. A lot of those guys played a lot of snaps. So we're going to have a lot of new faces on the field. Some guys excited to get opportunities. We'll have some younger guys with an opportunity to get some opportunities. So it's going to be one of those things where we're going to get a lot of fresh faces on the field and guys getting some chances to play football, and that's what you always want as a player. You want a chance to compete and get on the field on Friday night. So we'll have a lot of guys that hadn't had that chance maybe in the last couple of years with some big senior classes ahead of them. So they'll get their shot now.
Yeah, and speaking of their shot, I know you brought a couple of guys with you today to our Gridiron Football Media Days. Tell me about the 4 guys you brought today and why you decided to bring these 4 as representations of the program.
I think these are always great opportunities. Anytime you have a media day, great opportunity for seniors to get a chance to talk, and especially, like I said, big senior class last year. You had I think 25 seniors that all really played. So 4 seniors this year that get a chance to come out and some of them have been contributing in a big way the last few years. But all 4 of these guys that came with me today are guys that we're going to be counting on in a big way. Offensively, defensively, or sometimes in both cases, for a few of them offensively and defensively. So John Carney, who's been playing quarterback last few years and getting snaps really going back the last 2 years. John's back as a senior. Jamian Brown back this year. I know he's been a big part of the offense. As a receiver, has played some defensive back, and we'll be counting on him in both those spots in some cases this year. Kendrick Cahey, who was a big part of defense last year and is going to be a huge part of what we're doing this year in the secondary at safety, has had a really good summer. And then Marquaylon Joseph, who is another guy that got a chance to play last year, one of our returning starters. We have 3 returning starters on the offensive line. We're counting on those guys to be a big part of what we're doing. Especially on the offensive side of the ball, that anytime you have some experience coming back on the offensive line, especially, that's always a plus. So having 3 out of 5 guys coming back and being experienced is is a win for us. So all 4 of those guys, like I said, being seniors, stepping up in a big way, seeing some leadership out of them, which you always want from the older guys. So have an opportunity to come today. I know it's always fun as a player to come and be able to talk to get interviewed and be on social media and all that stuff is always fun. So it's a good opportunity for them.
Absolutely. And talk about we talked a lot about the offense side of the football. What do you think about the defense side of the football, looking at that side?
I think we got some guys that have bought in and defensively going into the summer. Technique, we were big as far as technique work in the month of June. I always feel like defensively, if you can play with good technique and play physical and fast, you can be good regardless of what you're talking about scheme-wise. So I'm really excited about the work we put in on the defensive side of the ball this summer. We got a lot of individual time, technique work, with players and coaches, and I know those guys have been playing fast when we've gotten a chance to get some group work in. Those defensive guys are playing fast, so I'm excited about where we are on offensively, defensively, specialty. We've been getting a little bit more special teams work in the month of July, so kind of inching forward, getting day by day process. But I think I'm pretty happy with where we are right now, mid July.
Any other guys? I know you brought the 4 guys today. Any guys you want to give a shout out to just for having a great offseason and something that you're really excited about to see how they develop over the course of the year?
Yeah, some of our linemen looking today, and guys that have been stepping. Brett Frizzle is going to be a senior offensive lineman for us. He's had a really great summer. Evan Delaney is a junior lineman for us. He's had a really great summer. So those guys have are guys we're going to be counting on, not only the offensive side of the ball, but to spot play some defensive line. Zabin Williams at running back has had a really good summer. Those guys are guys, guys with playing experience from the last couple of years stepping in, especially when we're going to have about 5 sophomores on the field in some different spots this year. So anytime you can have seniors who have some experience and guys who are a little bit tested to play next to those sophomores, I think it's always a good thing when you've got some young guys on the field to have some experience around them.
Hey, Coach, talk about the upcoming schedule. I know Lafayette's near the top of the highest in terms of classifications and everything, so I know it's going to be really tough over the course of the season. But talk about the non-district opponents and the district opponents I'll be playing against.
So we open up we're going to scrimmage Catholic High New Iberia.
Defending state champs, yeah.
So our jamboree is Brobridge High. And then we open with non-district. We're going to be Franklin week 1. Our week 2 is St. Martinville. And then our week 3 is Mamu. So going through, big part for us this year. Just numbers wise, we're a little down as far as 5A roster. So what you always want to get out of your non-district schedule is being able to be healthy going into your district schedule. 3-5A is a gauntlet. I played in 3-5A, so. Getting back, I coached at Lafayette High as an assistant, a decade ago. Yeah. So it's going to be, kind of, nostalgic for me going back and playing, Karen Crow and Acadiana and Barb and all those teams I played against and coached against as an assistant. But, coming out of our non-district schedule, we got to be able to stay healthy. If we can do that and, give us a chance to compete in district. Really tough district. We open up with Southside in district. They're going to be really good.
Yeah. Jess does a great job.
I think they're going to be a team that's going to be, I wouldn't be shocked if they're one of the last 4 teams playing in their classification by the end of the year. I know that they've got some experience coming back. Like you said, Coach Curtis has done a great job, so I'm expecting a lot from them this season. So to open up district with them, and then you get into everybody else, Sam Houston, Karen Crow, Barb, Sulphur, everybody. There's no weeks off. There's no easy games. So 3-5A is a gauntlet, has really always been a gauntlet, to go through. So you have to make sure, I think big thing for us is going to be staying healthy and keeping guys on the field. That's going to be a key for us, throughout the year, regardless of the week, we're looking at.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Coach, you had a lot of success at Central Episcopal, been there for a while, but I know it must feel different. Like you said, you went to Lafayette, you played, you coached here, now you're the head coach here. So has it really sunk in, knowing that you grew up around this program and now you're the head guy leading the program? In some ways. I told somebody back in May, I know that for me, some of the most impactful people in my life, when I was young, were teachers and coaches at Lafayette High. So to get a chance to be a part of the community is something that I'm not taking lightly. We've had a lot of moving parts. We got a lot of construction still going on at the school between the school building and the athletic facilities. So we've been pretty resilient in making some adjustments, throughout the summer. So we've had a lot of logistical things to take care of. So as far as the day-to-day, I hadn't had a lot of chance to just sit back and reflect as far as like where I am. But I just know, going back, I played for Bobby Green, I played for Mark Barus, I played for Jay DiMaggio, all guys that were head coaches at Lafayette High, 3 of the guys that were huge, I guess, in shaping me as a player and a young coach. So to get an opportunity to
to follow in their footsteps is something that is something I guess cherished, the opportunity.
Absolutely, Coach. We're looking forward to see how you lead the Lions in 2025 and beyond. And Coach, here's our free magazine for
Appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely. The next magazine, we have a lot of Lafayette coverage coming up. So,
Gotcha.
so all the Lions fans out there, we'll have an in-depth season preview on Coach Hearen and the rest of the Lions. So if you want your football fix, make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com.